Well, y'all, we are knee deep into this nightmare shit at the Cold River Motel. Welcome back to Spoilerish and Unfiltered. We're going to be reviewing episode 5 and 6 of Hell Motel today. And the paranoia and betrayal, the body count, everything is going up, and I'm here to break it all down for you in a gloom and doom fashion as we do Hell Motel. Um, as much group as I'm sorry, as much chaos as this group has seen so far, with the remaining left, if you've seen all the way through episode 6, um, are you trusting anybody at this point? I mean, I probably would have stopped trusting everybody after the first body drop, but at this point through episode 6, if you're one of the remaining, are you trusting anybody? Because I'm not at all. So the storm is still going out of control, and it's nothing to be compared to the emotional storm and the storm of everything else that's going on inside the Cold River Motel. Um, episode 5, Jailbait. That's the title of the episode. It cranks up the tension. Note check. Fractured loyalties, gun-toting standoffs, and rising suspicion transform every conversation into an interrogation. And my man, hold on one second. I apologize for that. I messed my view up. But my guy, he's going through it. He's going through it. He is going through it. And when they talk about a gun toting standoff, after after one of the hotel patrons is found murdered hanging from a tree with a bag over their head, uh, my guy basically snaps and he finds the gun that one of the other hotel guests were carrying around, and he ties everybody up, locks them in a chair, and he goes fucking crazy in this entire episode, and rightfully so. But he does go a little bit too far at times. But does he get the answers that he's looking for while he has everybody tied up in chairs, and he's the only person that can move around the hotel at this point in time? So, you know, I would say he's interrogating everybody, but I would say in his mind, he knows who the killer is, and I'll leave it at that. But by episode 6, titled "Guts and Glory," the show doubled down on the trauma, the paranoia, and at this point, nobody feels safe. And if you saw the end of episode 5 and the end of episode 6, then you know that the killer is one of a few people, and I have my theories on who I believe the killer is. And matter of fact, let's go ahead and get into that. At this point, there are two killers, and while there are two killers, at the same time, there are three people that between the two killers. We obviously know, like in this picture right here, that Floyd and Shirley are the original killers from when they were younger. They came back 30 years later, and they came back to finish what they didn't finish in the beginning. And this is them 30 years later now in the present day of the hotel. And they are most certainly two of one of the killers. They killed the painter. Spoiler alert. They killed the painter. They left him strung up in his room like a piece of art. Um, the husband killed somebody else who was basically already done, so he went ahead and basically finished the job. I know they had to kill 8 people, So they're definitely two of the killers. But this other killer, I have not been able to put my finger on who I think it is, but there is definitely one more killer. Down in the comments, let me know who you think the killer is of the remaining victims. But could the killer be the demon that they tried to summon all those years ago when they were young? Or I don't think the hotel's haunted, but I mean, I guess we could go there if you wanted to just throw it out there. But I think there's a killer on the loose, and I think it's one of the people that are remaining in the hotel. So that's just my opinion. I what if the killer is somebody that we think is dead already? Um we obviously saw the two new owners of the hotel, Portia and I forgot the other owner name. We saw them get pretty brutally murdered. Well, woke up next to one and the other one got knifed to death by everybody in the hotel. So that person's definitely dead. But there have been some questionable deaths in the show, at least one or two, and they don't focus on the bodies much at all when they go into the little room that they basically turned into a morgue, and they don't necessarily focus on the body. Last episode, not last episode, but episode 5 was probably the most I've seen the bodies uh in the entire series or whatnot. After obviously they've shown when they've taken the bodies into the morgue room, but they don't really focus on the bodies much after that. So is everybody really dead? Would they even really notice if there was a body missing or not? Like when Andy was back there, spoiler alert, when Andy was back there talking to Blake after she died, because she's the one who's stronger from the tree, and he starts unraveling and whatnot. He only focuses on her body. And I was just waiting for something to come from behind him or whatnot while everybody was tied up to get him. But that didn't happen. But Andy clearly isn't the killer either. Tongue twister. But I just don't understand I don't understand who the killer could be. The other one, the real killer, who I think is gonna, I guess you could say, prevail at the end of this season. I do have my theories on it though. And one of my theories is, and tell me if you think I'm crazy, but this is a wild theory. But what if it's the realtor Magenta? What if Magenta sold the hotel to Ruby and Portia, and then, they talked about it's a cursed property. They talked about all the terrible things that happened there. It's been closed for basically up to point that where they bought it. It's been closed for 29, 30 years. So who's to say that the realtor who sold it to him isn't some murder mystery freak like everybody else in the TV show that gets off on whatever and boom, there's your killer? Because Floyd and Shirley, we know, are killers because they've done it before, and everybody else is just a suspect. And since bodies are dropping and they're running out of people to be the killer, the only other person that hasn't been addressed since they showed up initially has been Magenta, and maybe that person who had access to the motel, hotel, whatever at one point, maybe that's the killer. So love me, hate me. If I'm right, maybe Magenta's the killer. So that's just where I'm going with it. But as far as the performances or whatnot, the performances deliver. The horror stands out. The dread stands out. There's a lot of dread in this TV show. It's not necessarily a slow burn, but it's definitely a pressure cooker. It The environment every episode amps up a little bit more. The pressure amps up a little bit more, and eventually everything's gonna have to blow. So, my chaos checklist, and I'll do one for each episode. So in episode 5, we have a fresh murder that rocks the group. We already told you if you were listening earlier, but spoiler alert if not. Blake was murdered, strung up from a tree, throat slit with a bag over her head. So now everybody is suspicious because they locked her up in the outhouse outside, and she broke a window, got out, and now she's free. Well, she got free, got caught in the woods. The killer with the mask on basically toyed with her and got her. But um, you have the arguments about gender bias that explodes, and then Adriana's meltdown climaxes with her accidentally shooting Shirley and being locked away. So I'm sorry, not Blake, but Adriana's the one that was strung up or whatnot at the end of episode 5. And leading into episode 6, Adriana's bloody body is found by the group. Blake, who is the actress, she breaks down, and I'm sorry. I'm messing this up. Blake is the guy. Adriana is the girl who's dead. Blake is the one who was pining over her being dead and held everybody up. And I apologize for the confusion. My notes are a little bit messed up. That's on me. But there are going to be forced alliances. Basically, who is going to be the killer? There are 2 episodes left. Episodes 7 and 8. And honestly, I don't know who the killer is. I know some people, I've seen some reviews or whatnot where people have said they know who the killer is, but I don't know who the killer is. But I think it's Magenta. That's my theory. But the show is no longer about the supernatural horror or ritual. It's all about paranoia, and it's all about the gore, guts, and knocking everybody off to maybe complete this ritual, or maybe this is just somebody just knocking everybody off just to have a good time. So I'm not sure which one it is, but it's definitely one of them. And if it's the one where they're just knocking everybody off to have a good time for TV show purposes, keep going with it. I love the guys who make Slasher, and I love the Hell Motel. So, because same guys made Hell Motel. So, what worked in this the last 2 episodes? Um, Blake's spiraling depression and Adriana's tragic unraveling. The power shifts and the paranoia keep every scene basically unpredictable. You don't really know what's going to happen. And then we have flashbacks to when Blake was in college or whatnot, and he kind of went through an experience similar to this and dealt with a killer on campus or whatnot at his frat house or whatnot. Then what didn't work was, in my opinion, the focus on the psychological torment. I think they're trying to just drive that home just a little bit too much. And I love the gore, I love the blood, I love the guts. I just don't like all the splashing blood. It's just unrealistic. So if it were more gushing type stuff, and you'll see what I mean, but the squirting, splashing blood is just, it's just not realistic to me. So that's just me. And obviously everything ties back to the whole uh Baphomet's influence, and that's the demon. Everything's going to tie back to that, in my opinion. They're going to circle back to that. They show a little bit of it when Floyd and Shirley were young and they were trying to summon him. So that's back into the story if he's not the killer, or so, because it could be the demon, but I believe it's Magenta. I'll keep driving that point home. Um, like I said, all the clues point to the cast running out of time. There are 2 episodes left. There are, I guess I can say it at this point, there are 4 people left. There are 2 episodes left. There's been 1 person dying every episode. They started with 10 people. So with 2 episodes left, we know 2 of the original killers are alive. We do, as the people that are watching. So that's one killer that may not, maybe one of them will die in episode 7. That would be interesting if they finally split them up and one of them dies and then they're not able to complete their ritual or whatnot. I would love to see what type of wrench that throws into their plan. Or maybe Shirley, because she seems to be a little bit more thought out. I would love to see what the backup plan to that is. But either Floyd or Shirley, I could see one of them dying next episode, episode 7. But 4 people left, 2 episodes left. I don't think this is going to be a thing where 3 people are going to walk out. I don't really think anybody's going to walk out. So is the suspect hiding in plain sight, which would mean it's one of the 4 people, and we know 2 of them killed. So it's only 2 other people that could be the other killer. So is it one? It's a killer in plain sight, or is there something different going on? Leave me your theory down in the comments and tell me what you think about it. Let me know who you think the killer is, and if you are one of the people that think you have figured out who the killer is, please let me know and how you figured out, because I would love to go back and watch and see what you see. And that way, well, just to see what I missed and whatnot. So, watch or not, definitely keep watching. This is a great watch. I am through episode 6. We have 2 episodes left. Episode 7 is dropping this week, and episode 8 is dropping next week. So I'm looking forward to it. If you're a horror movie fan, horror TV show fan, if you're a blood and guts Saw type fan, this is definitely the show for you. If this is the first time seeing this video, please go back and watch episodes 1 through 6. Great show, great watch. A lot of blood, a lot of guts, a lot of horror. Wouldn't say a lot of supernatural, but they do kind of mix it in a little bit. But this is all about the people. This is all about it's less about the motel, because the motel is just a place where everything happens at. That's why I don't think it's haunted. I just believe that somebody who got invited there probably planned to be there or knew everybody was going to be there and decided to kill everybody up under the guy, up under the disguise of the killer. So just my theory. Don't know. Definitely keep watching. And so what I think is next is, like I said, who's left alive by the end. I don't think anybody's going to be left alive by the end, but I guess we'll see. If there's anybody left alive at the end, I'm going to go with Shirley. The actress basically is the final girl, and that would be too predictable if the final girl made it to the end, but maybe that's the way they're going to go, let the final girl make it to the end. So I could see that as a classic horror movie style. The final girl does make it to the end through everything. But I think it's going to be Shirley. If anybody walks out alive, and I don't believe there's going to be anybody, it'll be Shirley. Could Magenta, the realtor, return and be the real killer? That's what I'm banking on. That's what I'm betting on. And my money is now on Magenta. I was initially split, but it could be somebody that's been hiding all along, but I'm pretty sure that it's Magenta. So who's your pick for the killer? Who's your pick to survive, if anybody? Because, like I said, I don't believe anybody is going to survive this show. But to wrap up everything, enjoy the paranoia, enjoy the trauma of the victims of the show. If you haven't seen it, watch episodes 1 through 6. I guarantee you will not be disappointed. Do you have a killer theory? If you do, please let me know down in the comments. Please come back. Let me know what you think about that. Or is this just chaos, which I don't believe it is. My killer theory is the realtor knew everybody was going to be there because she had a relationship with the now deceased new owners, and maybe she's just a murder mystery freak just like everybody else, and she decided to kill everybody. So which horror show or horror movie or any show or movie that you think I should tackle next, please let me know down in the comments. And thank you for coming by, and keep watching Hell Motel. And I will be back soon for episode 7 review. I'm not going to wait and do an episode 7 and 8. I'm going to do a episode 7 review. That way, going into episode 8, we can lay all our theories out on the table and see who is really going to be right in the end. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.